Good morning, Simon. Leonard Parker here. I just wanted to do this audit for your website. Look through everything, kind of look at some of the things you have going on off your website as well. And I'm going to be going back and forth, referring to this list that I put together for your website. Different things I saw that could be improved. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to just kind of go over my pricing a bit. But I'll send you the full brochure of services just so that you can have an idea on what we can do. And I also include a few of our references in there as well. So get started. So I'm going with the technical elements of your website. So there are actually three things I saw for areas of improvement. The first thing is, I was able to see quickly. So you see here, I'm using the Google Chrome browser, and you'll see here, it says not secure here in the browser. And when you click down on that, it says that your connection to the site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site. For example, passwords or credit cards, because it could be stolen by attackers. Now, I've looked through your website. It doesn't look like you're asking for password information or even credit card information. But just from a branding standpoint, that's just not a really good sign, especially if someone is coming to your website for the first time. It's just not really a good look for your brand. And it's very easy to fix this. This is something that you would do through your hosting company, but basically you want to buy what's called an SSL certificate for your website, and that would fix that. And depending on your hosting company, they'll take care of this for you, and it can take from 30 minutes to maybe a few hours, but it's very, very easy to fix. But definitely something that I've seen in the US, and I'm sure it's going to be the same case here in Asia, where Google and other search engines only want to return results that have that SSL certificate installed, because that's just a signal that the website is secure. There's a less chance for someone to get their information stolen or their information hacked. And obviously these search engines, they want to provide the best user experience for their users, so that's why they're going in that direction. And I noticed in Singapore, many of your competitors, they're not doing this. I saw maybe a few, one or two, but definitely something you want to consider moving forward, because this is where SEO and website security is going. So that's the first thing with your technical SEO. The second thing, I ran a page performance test on your site, and this is going to load for a bit. But overall, your scores are really good. You have a 83 for page speed score and an 85 for flow score. The only thing here is that your fully loaded time is at 6.3 seconds. And ideally, we would want that at 3 seconds. There are obviously some exceptions, like maybe if you had video or you were leveraging video as a big part of your user experience on your website, but none of those things are the case. So I would really like to see this number closer to 3 seconds if possible. And then this report, it just kind of shows you some of the things we could work on. So it looks like your biggest area of opportunity would be optimizing your images. So that's probably just a matter of compressing your images, but also making sure that they keep the same quality, but making sure the file sizes for each individual image are smaller, so that as many resources are so you don't need as many resources to load those images. And then this is also related to images. So what it looks like when it says serve scaled images, that means that you're not specifying an image size in the HTML. So instead of the the HTML loading and loading a specified image size, it almost needs more resources to figure out, okay, how are we going to display this image? So that's another easy fix. You would just go into the HTML and actually specify the height and the width of the image. And then seems like you have something else here, but it's low impact, but maybe something else we want to look into once we look into some of the higher impact reasons why your website is taking a longer time to load. And then the third point I want to go over for your technical SEO, and this is actually something that kind of overlaps with on-page SEO, is called JSON LD schema. And so this is simply a JavaScript snippet that you would add to your website's code, and it would give Google's and the other search engines more information about your business. So in that schema, you can specify that you're a branding agency, you're based in Singapore. You can also have a price range. Even if you don't have a specific price range, you can give people an estimate. Do your prices start at 500 Singaporean dollars? Do they start at 1,000 Singaporean dollars? And that type of information, again, the search engines, they want to provide the best user experience. So when you provide more information for your business, it adds more credibility, more trust for your business, and typically that will help position you higher up in the search engine rankings. So those three areas are what I would focus on for your technical SEO. Now, kind of moving on to your what's called your on-page SEO, and let's just wait until this loads a bit. Not sure why there's a delay. Let's close this. Okay, so next I just wanted to talk a bit about the on-page issues, and I ran a separate audit for this, but your on-page is mostly going to be focused on your meta tags, your headings, and your images. And what I saw was probably the most prevalent problem on your website. Your meta tags, they're there, but they're not really optimized for SEO. So for example, if we go to your page, so right now, if we go to your page here, so what I saw, this is your title tag. That's, this little box that pops up. So branding, that's a good start, right? But branding what? So I think you can definitely add more content here. You have 70 characters to use so that you can give more specific information about your branding services. So an example title tag that would be well optimized would be Singapore branding agency, and then maybe have the pipe symbol or a hyphen, and then include your firm's name, Vantage. That would tell the search engine, robots, and also users exactly what this page is about. Singapore branding agency. And then I would want you to look at your other pages like that. So you have Discover, you have Strategize, you have Engage, and even under these pages, you want to make sure that they're all using the same optimization structure. So for example, for retail branding, you want to do something like Singapore retail branding services hyphen Vantage. Digital marketing services, or Singapore digital marketing services hyphen Vantage, and pretty much go down a list that way. And then even for your case study pages, or I should say the pages under your Our Work section, have the same idea. So let's say if you worked with a restaurant, you want to have something related to restaurant branding in that title tag. And then also follow in the same convention hyphen Vantage. And those are your title tags. I would say out of all of the meta tags, your title tags are probably the most important because they're kind of like the title of the page, right? So definitely you want to make sure that those are better optimized for your target keywords. Now your meta descriptions, and if you're not familiar with meta descriptions, they're simply try closing some more of these tabs. So yeah, your meta description is simply this little snippet right here. So your meta description is Singapore-based branding agency that shapes brands to accelerate success. Clients include Epson, Jurong Health, Sentosa Leisure Management, AIG. So the issue here, and that's the reason why you have these little three dots, is that the meta description is too long. So what you might want to do is review that meta description. You're already doing a really good job by including your keyword. You see how that's bolded? So that's a good job there. But you want to shorten this, and you want to include some call to action. So if you look at this guy, High Spark right under you, their call to action is very simple, but there's a call to action there, and you're missing that. And you can almost think about these meta descriptions as like a online billboard for your website, like it's a mini billboard. And one kind of expert trick I do, I look at the ads. So look at the people who are advertising, look at the words they're using, their phrases they're using, because they're actually spending money on this. So if they're doing at least a competent job, they're testing this, and you want to see kind of what can you borrow there to make your meta description stand out more. And you pretty much want to do the same thing for each page of your website. So yeah, you're doing a good job including the keyword and then Singapore, but area of improvement, you can include a call to action there. Going back to my master list here. So the next thing, heading tags, and this isn't something you can necessarily distinguish from the front end of your website. It's all managed on the back end, but your headings are simply different headings and subheadings on your page. And the best way to think about this is think about each page on your website as an outline. So maybe when you're in college, you used to have to write outlines before you actually wrote your papers. So your heading 1, that would be the main topic of the page. So if we went back to your website on your branding page, it would be something like Singapore branding services. And then from there, under that heading tag, heading 1 tag, you're going to have different heading 2 tags. And these might be, different subtopics that you would want to drill down on your branding page. And even under your heading 2 tags, you might have heading 3 tags and so on. And it pretty much goes on to heading 6. But in my experience, for SEO purposes, the H1, H2 are really the most important. So just some rules and some things I saw with your site. So you want to make sure each page has a heading 1 tag and only one. When you have more than one heading 1 tag, that just kind of throws red flag up for the search engine crawlers because heading 1s, they do have a lot of SEO weight. So you want to make sure that there's only one per page. And I saw a few of your pages that had more than one. You also, of course, want to make sure that your keywords are in your heading 1 tag. So let's say your title tag is Singapore branding services. You maybe want to make your H1 tag something similar, but not exactly the same. So branding services for Singaporean companies, for example. Still very similar, but it's different at the same time. And then for your heading 2 tags, you want to make sure that each page has at least one heading 2 tag. And again, you want to make sure that it does have some type of keyword optimization. And so you want to use alternative keywords. So on your main branding page, you might want to drill down and have something specific to restaurant branding or green, marketing for green-friendly businesses, something like that. But the key takeaway there is you want to make sure that those headings are keyword optimized. Now for images, and I found quite a few issues. You can see here I found 114 images on your site that were missing what are called alt tags. So alt tags, kind of going back to the point of user friendliness. So people of all backgrounds use Google. I'm just use Google for example. So some people might have different impairments. Some might be visually impaired where they can't actually see an image on your website. So the way that you tell them exactly what that image is about is you use an alt tag. And an alt tag is usually is going to be a description of the image, but you also want to make sure that you include your keyword in this image so that we can so that that person would know exactly what that image is about. So that improves the user friendliness of that page of your website, and it's just one of those small things that would help with your overall SEO. Alt tags, they also help your images show up in the Google image search. So definitely important that you add those there. And one additional thing that's not listed here, but since you are targeting a Singaporean audience, we can do what's called geotagging for your images. So if you've ever took pictures on a professional camera, you know that once you take the picture, it will add geo coordinates based on the location of where you took the image. And even if your images don't have those geotags, we are able to add them. So we can use downtown Singapore as your geo coordinate or your office address as your geo coordinate. And that would just add more what's called local relevance to your website. So that's another thing that we can do for your images to better optimize them for SEO. Now, kind of moving on, so I've already talked about technical SEO. I've talked about some of the on-page optimization areas of opportunity for your website. Now, I would say the biggest area of improvement is your content. So if I go back to your website, one thing I noticed when I click through some of your stuff is, so it seems all of these pages here in the footer, they go back to the main, and I'm sure that's the way it was designed, but ideally you would have a page, content for each of these services. Because right now, think about it. If someone doesn't type in branding exactly, or happen to land on one of your other pages, then it's going to be very hard to find you unless they've already heard of your firm, your agency name. So what I suggest is that you actually build out content on each of these pages. Of course, optimize it for SEO, or optimize those pages for SEO based on everything we just talked about for the branding page. But that would give yourself more opportunities to be found on Google. It's a lot easier to be found if you had, let's say these are 15 pages out there versus one or two. I'm sure you understand that. So that's the biggest area of opportunity I see for your site as far as your SEO presence. Other than that, I will also want you to consider doing a blog, and at a minimum, writing a new article once per month. But ideally, you would be doing that once per week. And you can also almost think about this as these services pages, they're static. You might update them once a year based on a change in the way you deliver a service. But your blogs, they provide an opportunity to showcase your expertise, but also show that you are very, very up to date on what's trending in your industry, in the branding niche. So I think that's the best use of a blog. And then kind of going back to the point, the more articles you put out there, the more content you put out there, the more opportunities you give people to find you. So that's why I highly encourage you to start blogging. That is one of the services that we offer, and I'll get into that a bit later, but very important for your overall web presence. So that covers content. Just going back to this list. So the last area I want to discuss is your off-page SEO. So when I Googled your firm's name, and I'll actually do it here again, just so that you can see for yourself. So you can see here, Google Advantage Singapore. As expected, your firm, your agency comes up here on the right-hand side, but you're just listed as consultant in Singapore. I have no idea. If I'm looking for branding services, I have no idea what you do. So I would highly encourage you to make that more specific. So I don't think there's a option for branding, but maybe you want to do something like marketing consultant in Singapore, marketing agency in Singapore. In addition to that, I would add a keyword here in your business name. So something like Vantage Branding, Singapore Branding Agency, or Singapore Marketing Agency. I think branding, from our call, that's really what you want to focus on. So you definitely want to make sure that you target Singapore and you target branding agency in your business title here. And then, of course, I highly encourage you to get some more reviews. I know that's sometimes difficult because that depends on your clients and their willingness to do so, to review your services. But just make that a regular fixed part in your client communication process. So yeah, definitely ask for ask for reviews and have them add them here. Now, as far as reviews, I would say the first priority would be your Google My Business profile. And then you also want to look at perhaps Facebook as well, because sometimes those reviews do show up in the Google search results. So just something to consider there for your Google My Business. So that's the first part of the off-page SEO recommendation. And then SEO, if that wasn't clear, if I didn't make this clear, it's pretty much everything that helps your SEO presence, your online presence, but it's not directly done on your website. The second part are your citations. So a big part of branding, and especially since you are targeting a local market, is getting your business placed in its Google Maps. And here's another Google search I did, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So my apologies again, otherwise such a lag, but here we go. So when I do a search for branding agency Singapore, you can see here there's this map, and then your organic listing is actually pretty good. It's your number 2. But think about this. So first thing, when someone does that search, they see these 4 ads, and let's say they're not really interested in those 4 ads, but then they see these 3 other businesses here. So, just to kind of give you the stats there, at least 40 to 50% of all clicks are going to go to these 3 businesses just because they're here in what's called the Google Local Pack. And then you have the sort list website, and then you have your website. So really, you're number 2 in an organic listing, but on the page overall, you're number 9 on the page. So just think about that. And the reason why I bring that up is because the citation work, the work on your Google My Business profile, they'll better position you to place or rank here for different keywords. And that's where you want to be, because you can see here, I can get the contact information right away. I don't even have to click through to their website. I can get directions if that's appropriate, and I can see the reviews of that business. And I think this is a very good opportunity for you, because Jab Design, they're doing really well. They have a 4.9 rating and 31 reviews. But you look at NC Marketing Group, they have a review rating of 2, and they only have 4 reviews. So if you really put some dedicated time to get reviews, maybe over a week or 2, you could easily pass them up as far as review ratings. And then DIA Brand, they don't have anything here. So I think the bar is really low as far as getting into this local map pack, and that's why I highly recommend making this a priority for your SEO campaign. And one more thing to add here, So let's say I was looking on my mobile phone for a branding agency. Instead of this website button, there would be a call button here where I would be able to call that particular business directly. So that's just some benefits of being there, and I just kind of want you to see, look at what they're doing. So they actually have Singapore branding agency in their title. Same thing here for NC Marketing. DIA brand they don't, but I do know that they have several locations in different countries. So they probably just have that authority where they don't necessarily have to put all that information in their business title. So just something to think about there for your Google My Business and for your what it's called local SEO. Now, going back to my list here, a big part of ranking in that Google local pack is getting your citations in order. So we want to make sure that your citations and profiles across the web all have the same business name, the same address information, the same phone information. And this might seem very simple because, you would think all of your information would be the same across the web, but that's not necessarily the case. Over the years, you might have used a different number or a different office address, or, you might have named your business one thing on one website, but maybe added, one little thing to the name on another website. And over time, those different inconsistencies can throw red flags to the different Google search engine crawlers. And like I said, they want to return websites and businesses that are credible. And when you have these inconsistencies in your business information, then it's just not, it kind of impacts in a bad way your business's credibility. So you want to make sure that that's in order. So those are citations. And then finally, further brand development. So just doing PR opportunities, taking advantage of those either online or, are there any news publications local for Singapore? Definitely you want to make sure that you are establishing your presence there. So that's my audit. That ends the audit portion of the video. Now I just kind of quickly wanted to go over my services and pricing in case that's not clear. So I'll actually send this in a separate email to the audit. And let's just give this a little time to load here. So, typically when I work, put together SEO campaigns for clients, I think about this at different steps, not only as far as the work, but you getting to know me and my team, and really us establishing and building that relationship to where you are confident in our work and we are confident that you are a good client. So typically where I start is with the business listing, citation, and brand profile development. And that's a one-time fee of $205. That is in Singaporean dollars. And pretty much, when we talked about building those citations and making sure that those are clean across the board, this is what that fee would cover. And that's a one-time fee. And that's my entry offer. Out of all of the things that we do, I think it would have the most impact as far as, kind of one-time hits. And that's something that I highly recommend you get started with. The second offer here, and this is after we completed the branded profile development, business citation development, is really cleaning up those on-page SEO issues that we found. So this includes, the technical optimization, so adding a schema, improving your website speed, improving, excuse me, installing or helping you install SSL certificate on your website, but also some of those other things. So optimizing the meta tags on your different web pages and making sure that they're keyword optimized to better position your website to rank in Google. So I offer that as a one-time $750 fee. And, usually that would take a course of a few weeks. We'll go through your website, clean it up, and make sure that everything is optimized, for the search engines. And then finally, it's our comprehensive SEO solution. And typically we start with these first two projects, and then we decide if it's a good working relationship and depending on your budget. But this is at a price of $1,497 per month. But it's pretty much comprehensive, so it'll cover everything that's included here, plus let's see here. Plus, we'll also do some, additional work. So we'll set up and make sure that everything is set up correctly for your Google Analytics and Google Search Console. And from what I saw, it looks like this is already set up, but a big part of this is also making sure that your goals are set up. We'll also set up call tracking, so we can track calls that are coming from your organic listing from SEO. And then we'll also do the content marketing piece. So, I mentioned that one big area of opportunity for your website is putting out more content. So we would write 2 to 4 blog articles per month. And then we'll also build out your services pages so that each of your services is properly highlighted on your website. And then after that, we would do some link building outreach, and this is pretty much ongoing. All of our link building is white hat, and we would build links to your site from websites and publications that are either local relevant, so in Singapore or Southeast Asia, or industry relevant, so related to branding, related to online and digital marketing. And I go into detail about our different strategies here. I won't make the video longer to go over those. And then kind of under the link building umbrella, we also do a press release service where we release a press clipping for your business every 3 months. And this just really helps with link building, help build out volume link building. And we will only work with publications in areas that you're interested in working with. So from my understanding, that's Singapore and Southeast Asia. And then here I kind of list some of the KPIs for the comprehensive SEO solution. And this is really what we're monitoring to see if your campaign is successful or not. So don't want to go too deep in detail about that. If you do have questions, happy to answer them. But that comprehensive SEO solution, that is a 6-month commitment, just to make sure we have enough time to get things in order, to get things rolling, so you can actually see some results from our work. And the way this is structured, so this is a brochure of services. There will be other parts of this document, but this is just listing those services. Once we have another call and you say, hey, Leonard, I want to start here, but maybe in the future I want to do the comprehensive plan, then I would go back and just charge you for one of our starter packages. So that pretty much brings me to the end of the video. I would like to set up a time to kind of go over this with you, answer any additional questions you have, and talk more about how we can work together going forward. So I'll leave a Calendly link in my email. We can schedule a time that works, and look forward to your response. So thank you, Simon. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and I look forward to talking to you in the near future. Take care.